The Book of First Kings, an ancient text filled with wisdom, drama, and divine interventions, has captivated readers for centuries. This series will explore the rich history and powerful stories that shaped the nation of Israel, beginning with the reign of King Solomon, son of David, and taking us through the division of the kingdom into Israel and Judah. Along the way, we will encounter legendary figures, epic battles, and profound moments of faith. The Book of First Kings is set in a time of great change and turmoil for the people of Israel. It begins with the reign of King Solomon and takes us through the division of the kingdom. Solomon, known for his unparalleled wisdom, wealth, and the construction of the magnificent temple in Jerusalem, is a central figure in the early chapters. His reign marks the pinnacle of Israel's united monarchy, but also sows the seeds of future division. Solomon's achievements are numerous. His wisdom was renowned, attracting dignitaries and scholars from far and wide. His wealth and the splendor of his court were unmatched, and his most monumental achievement was the construction of the temple in Jerusalem. This temple was more than just a building. It was a symbol of the nation's faith and a place where heaven and earth were believed to meet. However, even the wisest of kings is not immune to human flaws. Solomon's later years were marred by idolatry and foreign influences, leading to the eventual fracturing of the kingdom. This sets the stage for the turbulent times that follow, as Israel and Judah chart separate, often conflicting paths. The reign of King Solomon is one of the most celebrated periods in the history of Israel. As the son of David and Bathsheba, Solomon ascended to the throne with a legacy of strength and faith to uphold. His reign is characterized by unprecedented prosperity, peace, and wisdom, marking a golden age for the United Kingdom of Israel. Solomon's wisdom became legendary, a gift he received from God in a dream. When God offered to grant him anything he desired, Solomon asked for wisdom to govern his people justly. Pleased with his selfless request, God granted Solomon not only wisdom, but also wealth and honor. Solomon's wisdom was renowned throughout the ancient world, attracting scholars and dignitaries from far and wide, including the famous visit of the Queen of Sheba, who came to test him with hard questions and was left in awe of his profound knowledge and the grandeur of his court. One of Solomon's most significant achievements was the construction of the temple in Jerusalem, a task his father David had envisioned but was unable to complete. The temple, built on Mount Moriah, became the spiritual and cultural heart of Israel. It was a monumental project that took 7 years to complete, involving skilled laborers, artisans, and materials from neighboring nations. The temple's dedication was a grand event, with Solomon offering prayers and sacrifices, and God's presence filling the temple in the form of a cloud. Under Solomon's rule, Israel experienced unparalleled economic prosperity. He established trade alliances with neighboring nations, including the famous trade network with Hiram, king of Tyre, which brought wealth and exotic goods to Israel. Solomon's administration was efficient and well-organized, with a system of 12 district governors overseeing various regions of the kingdom, ensuring the collection of taxes and the maintenance of order. Despite his remarkable achievements, Solomon's later years were marked by a series of poor decisions that ultimately led to his downfall. Solomon's heart turned away from God as he married numerous foreign wives, who brought with them their gods and religious practices. He built high places for these gods and participated in idolatrous worship, violating the covenant with God. This disobedience incurred divine displeasure, and God declared that the kingdom would be torn from Solomon's lineage, though not during his lifetime, out of respect for David. Solomon's reign, while glorious, was also a cautionary tale of how even the wisest can falter when they stray from their principles. The seeds of division sown during his reign would soon bear fruit, leading to the eventual split of the United Kingdom into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Solomon's legacy, therefore, is a complex one, blending unparalleled wisdom and achievements with profound spiritual and moral failures. The reign of King Solomon, which began with such promise and grandeur, eventually succumbed to a tragic and cautionary end. Solomon, whose wisdom and accomplishments had earned him a revered place in history, faced a downfall that serves as a powerful reminder of the perils of straying from one's principles and covenant with God. In the early years of his reign, Solomon's wisdom and devotion to God were the cornerstones of his leadership. However, as time passed, Solomon's heart began to drift away from his steadfast faith. His marriage to many foreign wives, while politically advantageous, introduced a myriad of religious influences and practices into Israel. These wives, hailing from various nations, brought with them their gods and idols, which gradually infiltrated the spiritual landscape of Solomon's kingdom. Solomon's decision to accommodate the religious practices of his wives marked the beginning of his spiritual decline. He built high places and altars for the gods of his wives, including Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. These actions not only violated the covenant with God, but also led the people of Israel into idolatry and apostasy. The once unified and faithful nation began to fragment, as loyalty to God was compromised by the worship of foreign deities. The consequences of Solomon's actions were severe and far-reaching. God's anger was kindled against Solomon, and he declared that the kingdom would be torn from Solomon's lineage. However, out of respect for David, Solomon's father, God promised that the division would not occur during Solomon's lifetime. Instead, it would happen during the reign of his son. This divine decree set the stage for the eventual split of the United Kingdom into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Solomon's later years were marked by internal strife and external threats. Adversaries like Hadad the Edomite and Rezin the son of Eliad arose against Solomon, causing further instability. Additionally, Jeroboam, an industrious and ambitious servant of Solomon, was identified by the prophet Ahijah as the future king of the 10 tribes of Israel. Ahijah's prophecy, symbolized by the tearing of a new garment into 12 pieces, foretold the division of the kingdom, with Jeroboam receiving 10 tribes and Solomon's son retaining only 1 tribe, for the sake of David and Jerusalem. Despite his efforts to maintain control, Solomon's kingdom began to unravel. The once harmonious and prosperous reign was overshadowed by dissent and rebellion. Solomon's legacy, once defined by wisdom and achievement, was now tarnished by disobedience and idolatry. His story serves as a profound lesson in the importance of remaining true to one's faith and the consequences of allowing external influences to lead one astray. The death of King Solomon marked the end of an era and the beginning of a tumultuous period in Israel's history. The United Kingdom, once a powerful and prosperous nation under the leadership of Solomon and his father, David, was on the brink of division. The seeds of discord sown during Solomon's later years came to fruition, resulting in the split of the kingdom into 2 distinct entities, the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Solomon's son, Rehoboam, ascended to the throne amidst high expectations. However, his reign was plagued by a series of missteps that exacerbated the already fragile unity of the kingdom. One of the first challenges Rehoboam faced was addressing the grievances of the people, who were burdened by heavy taxes and labor demands imposed by Solomon. The elders of Israel advised Rehoboam to ease these burdens and show leniency to the people, thereby securing their loyalty. However, Rehoboam, influenced by his younger advisors, chose to increase the burden, declaring, "My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions." Rehoboam's harsh response sparked widespread discontent and rebellion. The northern tribes, led by Jeroboam, an ambitious and capable leader, rejected Rehoboam's authority and declared their independence. Thus, the kingdom was divided, with Jeroboam becoming the first king of the northern kingdom of Israel, consisting of 10 tribes, and Rehoboam retaining control over the southern kingdom of Judah, which included the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. The division of the kingdom had profound political, social, and religious implications. The northern kingdom, with its capital in Samaria, quickly established its own distinct identity. To consolidate his power and prevent the people from returning to Jerusalem for religious worship, Jeroboam instituted alternative worship centers in Bethel and Dan, where he set up golden calves as symbols of worship. This act of idolatry led Israel away from the worship of the true God and set a precedent for future kings of Israel, who continued to lead the people into idolatry and apostasy. In contrast, the southern kingdom of Judah, with its capital in Jerusalem, maintained the Davidic line of kings and the temple as the central place of worship. Despite the political division, the covenantal promises made to David and his descendants remained a source of hope and stability for Judah. Rehoboam's reign, although marked by initial turmoil, eventually stabilized, and he fortified cities to defend against potential invasions from Israel and other neighboring nations. The division of the kingdom also had significant implications for the broader region. The neighboring nations, such as Egypt, Moab, Ammon, and Aram, viewed the divided Israelite kingdoms as weakened and vulnerable. This led to increased military conflicts and shifting alliances, as both Israel and Judah sought to navigate the complex political landscape and protect their interests. The story of the divided kingdom is not only a tale of political intrigue and conflict, but also a reflection of the spiritual condition of the people. The division was a direct consequence of disobedience to God's covenant and a departure from the principles of justice, mercy, and faithfulness. The prophets of Israel and Judah, such as Elijah and Elisha, played a crucial role in calling the people and their leaders back to true worship and adherence to God's laws. Following the division of the kingdom, Jeroboam emerged as a significant figure in the narrative of 1 Kings. An ambitious and resourceful leader, Jeroboam's rise to power in the northern kingdom of Israel marked a pivotal moment in Israel's history. His reign, characterized by both political acumen and spiritual failures, set the stage for the complex relationship between the northern and southern kingdoms. Jeroboam's early life and rise to prominence began during Solomon's reign. He was recognized for his industrious nature and was appointed by Solomon to oversee the labor force of the house of Joseph. This position gave Jeroboam insights into the administrative workings of the kingdom and the grievances of the northern tribes. The prophet Ahijah played a crucial role in Jeroboam's ascent by delivering a divine prophecy. Ahijah tore a new garment into 12 pieces and gave 10 of them to Jeroboam, symbolizing that he would rule over 10 tribes of Israel. This prophecy foretold the division of the kingdom and Jeroboam's future kingship. After Solomon's death and Rehoboam's ill-fated decision to increase the burdens on the people, the northern tribes rebelled. They turned to Jeroboam as their leader, and he was proclaimed king over Israel. His capital was initially established at Shechem, a city of historical and religious significance. Jeroboam's primary goal was to consolidate his power and ensure the loyalty of the northern tribes. To achieve this, he implemented several strategic and controversial measures. One of Jeroboam's most significant actions was the establishment of alternative worship centers in Bethel and Dan. He set up golden calves in these locations, declaring, "Here are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." This move was intended to prevent the people from traveling to Jerusalem to worship at the temple, which remained under the control of Rehoboam and the southern kingdom of Judah. By providing convenient and accessible places of worship within the northern kingdom, Jeroboam aimed to strengthen his rule and reduce the risk of his subjects' allegiance shifting back to Jerusalem. However, Jeroboam's establishment of these alternative worship centers had profound spiritual consequences. The golden calves and the associated idolatrous practices led the people of Israel away from the worship of the true God. This departure from faithfulness to God's covenant resulted in a pattern of apostasy and idolatry that plagued the northern kingdom throughout its history. Jeroboam's actions set a precedent for future kings of Israel, who continued to lead the nation into spiritual decay. Jeroboam's reign was also marked by conflicts and challenges from within and without. He faced opposition from Rehoboam, who sought to reunite the divided kingdom through military means. The tension between Israel and Judah persisted, leading to periodic skirmishes and strained relations. Additionally, Jeroboam's rule was threatened by internal dissent and prophetic condemnations. The prophet Ahijah, who had once foretold Jeroboam's rise to power, later rebuked him for his idolatrous practices and declared that his house would be cut off and destroyed. Despite these challenges, Jeroboam managed to maintain his rule over Israel for 22 years. His legacy, however, is a complex and troubled one. While he succeeded in establishing a distinct and autonomous northern kingdom, his reliance on idolatry and departure from God's commandments overshadowed his political achievements. Jeroboam's reign serves as a cautionary tale of how the pursuit of power, when accompanied by spiritual compromise, can lead to lasting consequences for a nation. The reign of Rehoboam, Solomon's son, is a pivotal chapter in the history of the southern kingdom of Judah. His ascension to the throne marked the beginning of a challenging period characterized by political instability, external threats, and internal dissent. Rehoboam's leadership, decisions, and the subsequent events provide valuable insights into the complexities of governance, the consequences of poor judgment, and the enduring significance of faith and covenant. Rehoboam inherited the throne upon the death of his father, Solomon. However, his reign began under a cloud of uncertainty and discontent. The people of Israel, burdened by the heavy taxes and labor demands imposed by Solomon, sought relief from their new king. They assembled at Shechem, where Rehoboam was to be crowned, and presented their grievances, requesting a lighter yoke and more lenient governance. Faced with this critical decision, Rehoboam sought counsel from two groups: the elders who had served his father and the younger advisors who had grown up with him. The elders advised Rehoboam to heed the people's request and show leniency, arguing that such a gesture would secure their loyalty and strengthen his rule. However, the younger advisors, driven by ambition and a desire for power, urged Rehoboam to adopt a more authoritarian stance. They recommended that he increase the burdens on the people, asserting his authority with a firm hand. In a fateful decision, Rehoboam chose to follow the advice of the younger advisors. He responded to the people's request with a harsh and defiant message. "My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions." This response ignited widespread outrage and rebellion among the northern tribes, leading to the division of the kingdom. The northern tribes rejected Rehoboam's authority and proclaimed Jeroboam as their king, establishing the northern kingdom of Israel. Rehoboam's decision not only resulted in the loss of 10 tribes, but also weakened the political and economic stability of the southern kingdom of Judah. The division of the kingdom left Judah vulnerable to external threats and internal dissent. Rehoboam's reign was marked by a series of conflicts and challenges as he sought to consolidate his power and defend his kingdom. One of the significant external threats during Rehoboam's reign was the invasion of Judah by Pharaoh Shishak of Egypt. In the 5th year of Rehoboam's reign, Shishak launched a campaign against Judah, capturing fortified cities and advancing toward Jerusalem. The invasion was a consequence of Judah's abandonment of the covenant with God, as prophesied by Shemaiah, a man of God. Rehoboam and the leaders of Judah humbled themselves before God, acknowledging their disobedience and seeking divine intervention. In response, God spared Jerusalem from total destruction, but the kingdom was subjected to Egyptian domination, and the treasures of the temple and the royal palace were plundered. Despite these challenges, Rehoboam made efforts to fortify his kingdom and ensure its survival. He built and strengthened fortified cities throughout Judah, stationed troops, and stored supplies to defend against potential invasions. Rehoboam's reign, which lasted 17 years, was characterized by a constant struggle to maintain stability and protect Judah's interests in a turbulent region. Spiritually, Rehoboam's reign was a time of religious decline and idolatry. The high places, sacred stones, and Asherah poles proliferated throughout the land, leading the people away from the worship of the true God. This period of spiritual unfaithfulness had long-lasting consequences for Judah, as it set a precedent for future generations and contributed to the eventual downfall of the kingdom. Rehoboam's legacy is a complex one, marked by both failures and efforts to rectify his mistakes. His reign serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of wise counsel, humility, and adherence to divine principles. The story of Rehoboam and the division of the kingdom provides valuable lessons in leadership, governance, and the enduring significance of faith and covenant in the face of adversity. The book of 1 Kings is not only a narrative of kings and political intrigue, but also a profound account of the prophets who played critical roles in guiding, admonishing, and sometimes confronting the leaders and people of Israel and Judah. The prophets in 1 Kings, most notably Elijah and Elisha, serve as the moral and spiritual compass of the nation, calling the people back to faithfulness and adherence to the covenant with God. Elijah, one of the most prominent prophets in 1 Kings, emerges during the reign of Ahab, a king of the northern kingdom of Israel. Ahab, influenced by his wife Jezebel, a Phoenician princess, led Israel into deeper idolatry by promoting the worship of Baal, a Canaanite storm god. Jezebel's zeal for Baal worship included the persecution of the prophets of Yahweh, creating a hostile environment for those who remained faithful to God. Elijah's ministry is marked by dramatic and powerful interventions that demonstrate God's sovereignty and challenge the prevailing idolatry. One of Elijah's most notable confrontations occurs on Mount Carmel, where he challenges the prophets of Baal to a test of divine power. Elijah proposes that both he and the prophets of Baal prepare a sacrifice, but refrain from setting it on fire. Instead, they would each call upon their respective gods to ignite the sacrifice. The prophets of Baal pray fervently, but no fire descends. Elijah, in contrast, builds an altar, drenches it with water, and prays to God. Fire from heaven consumes the sacrifice, the altar, and even the water, vividly demonstrating the power of the true God. This event leads to the execution of the prophets of Baal and a temporary return of the people to the worship of Yahweh. Elijah's ministry also includes moments of profound personal struggle and divine encounter. After the triumph on Mount Carmel, Jezebel vows to kill Elijah, forcing him to flee into the wilderness. In his despair, Elijah experiences God's presence in a profound way. At Mount Horeb, God reveals himself to Elijah not in the powerful wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper, reminding the prophet of God's quiet yet steadfast presence. God reassures Elijah, giving him instructions to anoint new leaders and a successor, Elisha, ensuring the continuity of prophetic ministry. Elisha, Elijah's appointed successor, carries on the prophetic mantle with a ministry marked by miracles, compassion, and confrontation with idolatry. Elisha's ministry spans the reigns of several kings in both Israel and Judah, reflecting a period of significant political and social upheaval. One of Elisha's first acts as a prophet is parting the Jordan River, symbolizing the continuation of Elijah's powerful ministry. Elisha performs numerous miracles, such as purifying the waters of Jericho, multiplying a widow's oil to save her from debt, raising the Shunammite woman's son from the dead, and healing Naaman, a Syrian commander, of leprosy. Elisha's actions demonstrate God's compassion and power, providing for the needs of individuals and confronting the idolatry and injustice of the rulers. Elisha's ministry also includes moments of judgment, such as the prophetic announcement of the downfall of the house of Ahab, fulfilling the divine decree delivered by Elijah. Elisha's interactions with both the common people and the leaders underscore the prophet's role as an intermediary between God and the nation, advocating for faithfulness, justice, and mercy. The prophets of 1 Kings, particularly Elijah and Elisha, embody the tension between divine calling and human frailty, the struggle against idolatry, and the unwavering commitment to God's covenant. Their stories highlight the enduring theme of prophetic witness in the face of adversity and the importance of spiritual integrity in leadership. The narrative of 1 Kings, enriched by the prophetic ministry, offers timeless lessons on the nature of true worship, the dangers of turning away from God, and the power of divine intervention in the lives of individuals and nations. The rise of the Omri dynasty marked a significant and transformative period in the history of the northern kingdom of Israel. Omri, a military commander, emerged as a powerful and influential figure who established a dynasty that would leave a lasting impact on Israel's political, economic, and religious landscape. His reign, along with that of his successors, including the infamous King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, brought both prosperity and profound challenges to the kingdom. Omri's ascent to power began in the context of political instability and civil strife. Following the brief and tumultuous reigns of Nadab, Baasha, Elah, and Zimri, Omri, then a commander in the army, seized control of the throne. His rise was not without opposition, as he faced rival claims from Tibni, another contender for the kingship. After a prolonged struggle, Omri emerged victorious, securing his position as the king of Israel. One of Omri's most significant achievements was the establishment of a new capital city, Samaria. Located strategically on a hill, Samaria offered both defensive advantages and a central location for trade and administration. Omri purchased the hill from Shemer and constructed a fortified city that would become the political and economic hub of the northern kingdom. Samaria's establishment marked a shift in Israel's center of power and symbolized Omri's ambition to create a stable and prosperous kingdom. Omri's reign was characterized by efforts to strengthen Israel's economic and political standing. He forged alliances with neighboring nations, including the powerful kingdom of Phoenicia. This alliance was solidified through the marriage of Omri's son, Ahab, to Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidonians. This marriage brought significant economic and cultural exchanges, as well as the introduction of Phoenician religious practices into Israel. Ahab's reign, which followed Omri's, is one of the most well-documented and controversial periods in the history of the Northern Kingdom. Ahab inherited his father's political acumen and ambition, but his reign was also marked by significant religious and moral challenges. Under the influence of Queen Jezebel, Ahab promoted the worship of Baal and Asherah, leading to widespread idolatry and apostasy. Jezebel, a zealous devotee of Baal, actively persecuted the prophets of Yahweh, further deepening the spiritual crisis in Israel. Despite these religious conflicts, Ahab's reign brought economic prosperity and military successes. He expanded Israel's influence through military campaigns, including battles against the Arameans. Ahab's construction projects, such as the building of an ivory palace and fortifications, demonstrated the kingdom's wealth and architectural prowess. However, the prosperity achieved during Ahab's reign was overshadowed by his and Jezebel's religious policies and the subsequent divine judgment pronounced by the prophets. The most notable prophetic confrontation during Ahab's reign was led by the prophet Elijah. Elijah's challenge to the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, where he demonstrated the power of Yahweh over Baal, was a pivotal moment in Israel's history. The dramatic victory, where fire from heaven consumed Elijah's sacrifice, reaffirmed God's sovereignty and called the people back to true worship. Despite this, Ahab and Jezebel continued to promote idolatry, leading to further prophetic condemnations and judgments. The Omri dynasty's legacy is a complex and multifaceted one. On one hand, Omri and Ahab's political and economic achievements brought stability and prosperity to Israel. On the other hand, their promotion of idolatry and moral failures had long-lasting spiritual repercussions for the kingdom. The divine judgment pronounced by Elijah and later fulfilled in the destruction of Ahab's house by Jehu underscored the consequences of departing from the covenant with God. The prophet Elijah stands out as one of the most formidable figures in the book of 1 Kings. His confrontations with King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, his dramatic demonstrations of divine power, and his unwavering commitment to Yahweh make his story both compelling and instructive. Elijah's confrontations are pivotal moments that underscore the struggle between true worship and idolatry, and between divine authority and human defiance. Elijah's ministry began during the reign of Ahab, a king whose actions and policies led Israel into deep idolatry. Ahab, influenced by his wife Jezebel, actively promoted the worship of Baal and Asherah, erecting altars and high places throughout the kingdom. Jezebel, a fervent devotee of Baal, intensified the persecution of Yahweh's prophets, creating an environment of spiritual darkness and moral decay. One of Elijah's first major confrontations was his declaration of a severe drought. In a direct challenge to Baal, the storm god who was believed to control rain and fertility, Elijah proclaimed, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, There will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word. This proclamation was a bold assertion of Yahweh's sovereignty and a direct challenge to the authority of Baal. The drought, which lasted 3.5 years, brought devastating famine and hardship to the land, setting the stage for a dramatic showdown between Elijah and the prophets of Baal. The confrontation on Mount Carmel is one of the most iconic and powerful episodes in Elijah's ministry. Elijah challenged Ahab to summon the prophets of Baal and Asherah to Mount Carmel for a contest to determine the true God. The terms were simple. Each side would prepare a sacrifice, but would not set fire to it. Instead, they would call upon their respective deities to send fire from heaven to consume the offering. The prophets of Baal prayed fervently, danced, and even cut themselves, but no fire descended. Elijah, confident in Yahweh's power, prepared his sacrifice with deliberate care. He built an altar, arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and even drenched the entire setup with water to emphasize the miraculous nature of what was about to occur. Then, he prayed to God, asking him to demonstrate his sovereignty and turn the hearts of the people back to true worship. In response, fire from heaven consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. The people, witnessing this undeniable display of divine power, fell prostrate and declared, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." Following this triumph, Elijah ordered the execution of the prophets of Baal, purging the land of their influence. This victory was a significant moment of spiritual revival for Israel, yet it also intensified Jezebel's resolve to destroy Elijah. Jezebel, enraged by the death of her prophets, vowed to kill Elijah, forcing him to flee for his life. Elijah's flight led him to a place of deep despair and divine encounter. He journeyed into the wilderness, feeling overwhelmed and alone, and even wished for death. In this moment of vulnerability, God provided for Elijah's physical needs with food and water, and led him to Mount Horeb. There, in a series of powerful yet gentle revelations, God demonstrated His presence not in the wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. This encounter reaffirmed Elijah's mission and strength, showing that God's power often manifests in unexpected ways. God instructed Elijah to anoint new leaders who would continue his work. Hazael as king of Aram, Jehu as king of Israel, and Elisha as Elijah's successor. These anointings were part of God's plan to bring about judgment and restoration in Israel. Elijah's mentorship of Elisha ensured the continuation of prophetic ministry, with Elisha performing many miracles and continuing the struggle against idolatry. Elijah's final confrontation with Ahab involved a prophecy of judgment. After Ahab's acquisition of Naboth's vineyard through deceit and murder, Elijah confronted the king, delivering a severe judgment from God. Ahab's dynasty would be wiped out, and Jezebel would face a gruesome death. These prophecies were fulfilled, demonstrating the certainty of God's justice. Elijah's life and confrontations illustrate the themes of divine power, justice, and the importance of faithfulness. His unwavering commitment to God in the face of immense opposition serves as an enduring example of courage and integrity. Elijah's story, rich with drama and divine intervention, continues to inspire and challenge readers to remain steadfast in their faith and obedience to God. The book of 1 Kings, with its rich tapestry of historical events, prophetic interventions, and profound spiritual lessons, offers a compelling narrative that continues to resonate with readers today. As we conclude this exploration, it is essential to reflect on the major themes, legacies, and timeless lessons that emerge from this remarkable book. One of the central themes of 1 Kings is the tension between faithfulness to God and the allure of idolatry. The reigns of Solomon, Jeroboam, Ahab, and others illustrate the devastating consequences of turning away from God's commandments and embracing false gods. Solomon's initial devotion to God and his subsequent fall into idolatry serve as a powerful reminder of the dangers of allowing external influences to erode one's faith. Similarly, Jeroboam's establishment of alternative worship centers and Ahab's promotion of Baal worship under Jezebel's influence highlight the persistent struggle against spiritual compromise. The role of the prophets in 1 Kings is another significant theme. Prophets like Elijah and Elisha stand as beacons of truth and divine authority amidst a landscape of moral and spiritual decay. Their confrontations with kings, their dramatic miracles, and their unwavering commitment to God's covenant underscore the importance of prophetic witness in calling the nation back to righteousness. The stories of these prophets demonstrate that even in times of widespread apostasy, God's voice remains active and powerful, guiding, admonishing, and offering hope for redemption. The narrative of 1 Kings also explores the complexities of leadership and governance. The reigns of the various kings, with their successes and failures, provide valuable insights into the qualities that define effective leadership. Solomon's wisdom and administrative prowess brought prosperity and stability, but his later years of disobedience led to the kingdom's division. Rehoboam's failure to heed wise counsel resulted in the loss of the northern tribes, while Ahab's political achievements were overshadowed by his moral and spiritual failures. These stories highlight the interplay between political ambition, moral integrity, and divine accountability. The division of the kingdom into Israel and Judah is a pivotal event with lasting implications. The split not only weakened the nation's political and military strength, but also led to divergent spiritual trajectories. The northern kingdom of Israel, with its persistent idolatry, faced continual prophetic condemnation and eventual destruction. In contrast, the southern kingdom of Judah, while not immune to spiritual failings, retained the Davidic line and the temple, offering a measure of continuity and hope for the future. The legacy of 1 Kings is multifaceted, encompassing both cautionary tales and enduring lessons of faith. The book serves as a reminder of the importance of remaining true to one's covenant with God, the dangers of idolatry, and the vital role of prophetic witness in guiding and correcting the community. The stories of 1 Kings, with their vivid characters and dramatic events, continue to inspire and challenge readers to reflect on their own faith and commitment to divine principles. As we conclude this exploration of 1 Kings, it is worth considering the broader context of the biblical narrative. The themes and lessons of 1 Kings are part of a larger story that unfolds throughout the Bible, culminating in the ultimate revelation of God's love and redemption through Jesus Christ. The struggles and triumphs, the faithfulness and failings of the kings and prophets in 1 Kings, all point to the enduring truth that God's purposes and promises prevail, even amidst human frailty and failure. The book of 1 Kings, with its rich history and profound spiritual insights, remains a timeless and valuable resource for understanding the complexities of leadership, the importance of faithfulness, and the power of divine intervention. As we reflect on the legacy of 1 Kings, we are reminded of the enduring call to live lives of integrity, devotion, and obedience to God, trusting in His unfailing love and sovereign purposes. Thanks for watching. God bless you all.